Dr. Kolkey.
Yes.
You say we had no right to be in Vietnam, and the heroes who fought and died over there, you're saying they weren't heroes at all, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Oh.
Wally, let me ask you this question. You've been baiting liberals for years. The people who got us into Vietnam were liberals. How could you possibly support a war that the liberals concocted?
Now, wait a minute. That is not true at all.
Johnson, Kennedy, Rostow, McGeorge Bundy, all the liberals were the people who brought us Vietnam. Why are you suddenly becoming a liberal defender? Can't you accept the fact that the liberals screwed up in Vietnam?
Just a moment, my friend. It was not only the liberals who got us into this war. The conservatives goaded the liberals into putting us into Vietnam because they knew we had to stop the communists from taking over the entire free world. How can you say, and I'll tell you, there are a lot of veterans at home that would love to get to you. Because how can you say that our valiant fighting men who went to Vietnam for their country were not heroes?
Wally, I'm going to say something that's going to make you, is really going to bum you out, and is probably going to bum your studio audience out and the people at home. But
anything you say makes me sick to my stomach.
Wally, it's about time somebody told the truth. The people who went to Vietnam were not heroes. They were unfortunate souls who didn't have enough sense coming out of the rain.
Oh, get out.
That is absolutely ridiculous, along with being sickening. Whether a man goes to war in Italy, France, Vietnam, or Iwo Jima, he is a hero.
Yeah.
Wally, no. you yourself will admit that you yourself will have to admit that the government only put forward a half-hearted effort in Vietnam. We never really tried to win it. Why would anybody go and march to Vietnam without their own country 100% behind them?
Because their country asked them to.
Yeah, that's right. I have received letter after letter after letter from Vietnam veterans all across this nation who've been watching my show and listening to me on radio and television for years, and they have told me, and tell you right to your stupid little face, they have told me that they went to Vietnam because they knew why they were there, that the South Vietnamese cried out to us because they did not want to fall to the Soviet Union, to the communist animals. They wanted a chance to remain free, and we gave them that chance.
Wally, when we pulled out of South Vietnam in 1973, the South Vietnamese had more equipment and more men under arms than the North. The truth was, when push came to shove 10 years ago, our allies, the South Vietnamese, turned tail and ran.
Let me tell you something. The only mistake, we made no mistake by going into Vietnam. Our intervention was honorable and just. We went because we were asked to come to Vietnam, to South Vietnam, because they did not want to be gobbled up, and they knew what happened. You've heard, of course, of the domino theory. They feared that Cambodia would fall next, and then, of course, Laos, and so forth. And so that's why we went in there. And the only mistake we made was not going in there. We had the liberals in command at that time.
So you admit the liberals messed up, don't you?
They messed up. If Ronald Reagan had been president, the war would have been over in 6 months.
Wally, you're living in a dream world, because the war you want fought, an all-out Ronald Reagan kind of John Wayne war, was never in the cards. The liberals said, okay, we're going to fight a limited war, take it or leave it. You conservatives took it. You have responsibility for the half-ass war that was fought.
Now, just a minute. Hey, talk about half-ass. Look in the mirror, pal. Now, let me tell you something.
I'm not going to let you off the hook, Wally.
Let me up. We're going to try to get yourself off the hook that you put yourself on by condemning our fighting men in Vietnam. Now, the reason we were over there was just and honorable. We did not want to have Cambodia fall and Laos and have the whole part of the world go down to communist oppression. Now, here's the mistake we made. We had Lyndon Johnson in office. We had Harry Truman in office. We had John F. Kennedy in office, all liberals who did not know how to fight this war and did not give our armed forces the right to fight it the way we should. But as General Douglas MacArthur once said, there is no substitute for victory. Our boys had their hands...
But you agree with me.
Wait a
You
minute.
wound up agreeing with me.
I'm saying that...
You're
No, I
agreeing
don't.
with me.
Wait a minute. I'm saying our fighting men had our hands tied behind their backs when the communists flew over and attacked us with all kinds of terrifying things, air attacks. They flew back across the Cambodian border, and we would not let our men go back and strike.
Let me answer that. Let me answer what you said. You're right. We fought with one arm tied behind our back.
Both hands tied
But you know
behind.
what? Only an idiot goes and fights under those circumstances. Would you go and fight for your country if you knew the country wasn't behind you?
I'll tell you this.
You know what? You wouldn't have enough sense to come in out of the ring then.
I'll tell you that our fighting men knew why we were there. And when Richard Nixon became the President of the United States, it was Nixon who allowed our planes to go across the border and to drop the bombs and attack in Cambodia. And it was Richard Nixon, the conservative Republican, who ended the war and brought our POWs home again. I'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm Wally George, and we have Dr. Jonathan Kolkey, historian. Boy. And he's...
Hey, Wally, I'm getting a little tired of your studio audience. Don't they have any manners?
Hey, I'm getting...
You know, Wally, in the early...
Wait a minute, I have news for you. We're getting tired of you.
Wally, in the early days of the Vietnam anti-war movement about 20 years ago, I used to yell like these guys, and you know what? I wear a suit now. Maybe those, you know what? And people like you used to yell at people like this. Why don't you yell at them?
Hey, you can wear all the suits you want, but a three-piece suit or not, you're still a 60s peacenik punk. Yes, David.
Jonathan.
Yes.
Jonathan, you obviously don't believe in the statement, my country, right or wrong. But do you even believe in the first part of it, my country? You consider this your country?
Well, absolutely. This is my country. I was born here.
And if they called you to go and fight, you wouldn't do it. You would...
Well, you don't have to throw your life away for foolishness. And let me put it this way. How could you, Wally, support any war that the liberals concocted?
Listen,
how could anybody who claims to be a conservative support a limited war that the liberals concocted?
The conservative forced them into this war. They had nowhere else to go because they knew that the conservatives would prove to the American people that it was a just cause to go into Vietnam. And I'll tell you this, not only in Vietnam, it continues now. Anytime, I say this, we must do this. Anytime any free country reaches out to us in the Mideast, in Central America, wherever, reaches out to us and asks us to help them to stay away from a communist takeover, to keep their freedom, we must help them, right?
All right, Wally. I don't want to see anybody fall under communism, but we cannot help people that will not help themselves. The South Vietnamese were terrible allies. I would support helping people that could fight for them, could really fight. But you know what? We gave them our blood, we gave them our money, we gave them our know-how, and they collapsed in the end.
Because we did not fight the war right. You are saying, you know, it really kills me because you are saying things like the men who fought and died in Vietnam were no heroes. They were jerks, didn't know how to come in out of the rain. You're saying exactly the same things that Jane Fonda has been saying.
Wait a minute. Those of us that were in the anti-war movement right from the start have always wondered how Jane Fonda wound up becoming the spokesman for the movement. I remember in '64 when I was opposing Vietnam, Jane Fonda, I guess she was over in Paris with her filmmaker husband Vadim at that time. Jane Fonda was as much a media creation as anybody else. She doesn't speak for me, and she never did.
I don't care where
it's
she was.
Conservatives like you that made Jane Fonda the spokesperson because she was a great talker, because she was stupid. Going to North Vietnam and being photographed with an anti-aircraft gun was a stupid thing to do.
Well, she is saying, and has been saying for years, exactly the same thing you're saying, so that makes you
No, she
a
isn't.
male James
No, she
Bond.
isn't. No, she isn't. No, she isn't.
Now you're saying we had no right to be over there in Vietnam. Let me quote former Secretary of State Robert McNamara.
Oh, my God.
And he says, and I quote, "We must continue." Now, this was when he was Secretary of State. And he says, "We must continue to help South Vietnam stay free and continue our struggle to halt communist expansion in Asia." Right? How do you answer that?
I guess you haven't checked in to see what McNamara's been saying lately. Lately, he said that right from the beginning of the war, he knew it was a hoax, he knew it was a fraud, he knew we were making a mistake.
Well, listen, this happens to be a quote directly from his mouth when he was Secretary of State and knew exactly what was going on.
Let's check in what he's saying lately.
Hey, listen.
He says he was part of a gigantic fraud, and he's so sorry about it.
Did he call you personally and tell you that? Get out of here. Go ahead, yes.
My name's John Hackman. I live near Palm Springs.
Yes, sir.
I'm down here with several of my buddies, and I'm a Vietnam vet.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Ex-paratrooper and I guess just a plain soldier at the time. And, you know, I wasn't looking for any pats on my back when I went in. I just went in to do what I was supposed to have done. And I'd rather fight in another country than Redondo Beach or Manhattan Beach or whatever.
You're absolutely right, yeah. I want to tell you, I am very glad that you came down tonight, and I apologize for jerks like him who had the guts to say that you guys over there in Vietnam and who have fought and died all over this world for us, that you are not heroes. To me, you guys are heroes. I love you, and thank you very much. Yes, sir. Yes.
My name's B.J. Rovney. I'm from West Covina, and I'm a veteran, sir.
Okay.
And I find your opinions disgusting.
Yeah! Sir?
Let me ask
I
you.
want to know
I
when
want to
you
ask
get off
you a
saying
question.
Wait a minute,
men
wait a minute, Jonathan.
who
Let
fought
him ask you
and
a question.
died in the wars to keep this country free are imbeciles and stupid. My father was a war veteran.
So
My
was mine.
grandfather was a war veteran.
So was mine.
Every one of them were proud to serve military service, and I followed in their footsteps. I'm not dead yet, but I would have gladly died for my country to keep even people like you free to speak your opinion.
My grandfather fought in the Spanish-American War. My father fought in World War II. I would have fought in a decent war.
Where did you fight, pal?
I fought I fought.
Hey, you couldn't fight your way out of a paper bag.
Wally, how this gentleman was asked to go and put his life on the line while our government was still trading with the Russians during the Vietnam War. The North Vietnamese were getting supplies that we were sending to Russia. We weren't serious about fighting this war.
This gentleman was, as you say, this gentleman was answering his country's call to fight, to stave off.
Betrayed you.
Oh, hey!
Mister, do you know what I do for a living now? Right now.
Hang on a second.
Right now, sir,
Yes.
I earn my living as a professional bodyguard. I earn my living beating jerks up like you.
Yeah.
And you're getting into that point right now. Don't push it, mister. I'm proud of that flag, and I'm proud of the men I served with under it. So don't tell me veterans are stupid. You're the stupid one.
I think we'll end on that note. Now we know who the real Americans are. I'll be right back. Thank you very much.